former judge Saldana, Justice Saldana, he's the former judge of Karnataka and Bombay High Court. He has decided to fight for Sister Lucy, and in fact he has written to the Vatican, and I hold that letter in my hand right now. It reads, it's a formal legal notice that has been sent to the Vatican and also to Delhi, where he's making a case for Sister Lucy and also highlighting how Franco Mullakkal, rape accused Franco Mullakkal, has been shielded only because of his money power and his political connections. We have Justice Michael F. Saldana joining us live in this broadcast to give us more details about what he has written to the Vatican and the case that he has made out for Sister Lucy. Welcome, Justice Saldana, on Republic TV, and thank you for sharing this letter with Republic TV. If you could elaborate for our viewers what you have written to Vatican, because we've read this letter and you've made some very strong observations here. You've written to the Vatican on how probably Bishop Franco Mullakkal could have been shielded only because as per what's written in this letter, he is the richest bishop in the country. Because of his money power and his political connections, he could have been shielded. If you could elaborate on this charge that have been made against Franco Mullakkal.
Well, to start with, the reason for my having pointed this out is because it adds a new dimension to the case. Sister Lucy has pointed out to me from the records that in 2018, a very large number of persons, which included many nuns, had taken up the issue regarding the fact that despite the investigation having indicated that criminal charges are made out against Bishop Mullakkal, that he was not being arrested and he was not being put on trial. Now the only demand, you see, this is important because this was not an agitation. The only request, it was a demand that the law of the land be implemented. They said if somebody has been found to have indulged in very serious sexual atrocities, and if you ask me, the horrifying levels of sexual harassment. In fact, I won't use the word harassment, that's the definition which the law gives. I will say that from the facts of this case, what has emerged is something very, very grave. It shows that the congregation of nuns, there's about, I was given the number by some scholars, 60,000 nuns in the state of Kerala alone. And then the response came from nuns all over the country who have told me that things are not different anywhere else. They said they are being oppressed. They are being treated like sexual slaves. This was the word which they themselves used. And I think this case has now become an issue of national importance and more importantly of our self-respect. Because what has been emerging now is that in 2018, when Sister Lucy, she was just one of the many. They only made a public demand that the law of the land be implemented. They said what we want is that where the investigation has shown that somebody has been found to have committed very serious sexual offences. And the important aspect is, please remember, that when it comes to offences of rape and offences of this type, that the burden of proof shifts and the onus shifts to the accused to discharge the burden with the law casts on him to establish that this has not happened, because there is this investigation. Fortunately, when Mullakkal took the matter to the High Court, it has been re-examined by the High Court, and the High Court has come out with a very strong judgment, pointing out that all the charges are well justified. In addition to that, The High Court's judgment has been confirmed by the Supreme Court. But leave that aside. The only demand that had been made in the course of that meeting was that the law of the land be implemented. Please arrest him, put him on trial. If he is innocent, he has the right to defend himself. If he is innocent, the court will acquit him. But if otherwise, should the law not take its course? And you see, over the last let me also point this out, that the record indicates that her congregation disapproved of her participation. As a citizen of India, as a colleague of the sister who is the victim, she has every right. In fact, all that they were doing was something which any right-thinking human being should do. She has every right to demand that the law of the land be implemented. Now, for doing that, she was charge sheeted, saying that it constitutes misconduct. Now, this went on for some time. Later on, obviously, realizing that there is no substance in an allegation of this type, the charges were altered. And some absolute frivolous nonsense, I can't define it beyond that, saying that you obtained a driving license without asking for permission. You have your own income. You have gone and applied for a car loan of a small car in order to facilitate your movement. You should have taken permission before doing that. Now, you published a book of poems. Now, she is a teacher. She is a senior educationist. She publishes a book of poems. Those poems are not offensive. We had a debate about it just 3 days back on Republic TV.
Yes.
And it was very clearly pointed out by people who know Malayalam and by people who have seen this book. I have not seen it, but there's absolutely nothing offensive about it. Now, these are the frivolous charges. She is not allowed to defend herself, and an order is passed dismissing her from the congregation on these charges. Please remember, the original charge was that she took part in a meeting. Then that charge is dropped. These frivolous charges are substituted, and an order comes saying that you are dismissed from the congregation. Now, the appeal, she has a right to appeal against that order. One of the grounds was that she was not given a fair opportunity to defend herself, which is very valid, because this is a dismissal from a convent is on par with according to me, on par with a death sentence. So it's a very, very grave punishment, and such punishment can come only for very grave misconduct and proven misconduct. She files an appeal to the nuncio. That appeal remains there. She has made 4 written appeals to the nuncio. Please hear my side of the case. Please don't go by what the prosecutors, or I would like to call them persecutors. Please don't go by what they have alleged against me. You can't have an ex parte order passed against me without hearing me. No hearing is given. They refuse to hear her. And she is informed that your appeal is summarily dismissed. Now, there is no reasoned order. This so-called dismissal is confirmed. After that, she is told that there is some supreme tribunal in the Vatican. She appeals to them, and the papers are lying there for some time. She repeatedly requested them. She said, "This is my last right of appeal, and therefore please hear me. Please don't condemn me unheard." Nothing happens. And please look at the atrocity. In the middle of June this year, she receives a copy of some order, half in Latin, half in English, mentioning that your appeal to the Vatican is also summarily dismissed.
Yes.
Now, I can't conceive of anything more atrocious.
Yes.
And poor Sister Lucy, she had requested a lady lawyer in Rome. She's a small person here in Kerala, India. She had requested a lady lawyer in Rome. She said, "Please assist me in this." And that lady was willing to do it. And she says that I requested this tribunal, saying that this is her last opportunity. So please hear us. They don't do it. Now, they are supposed to have passed an order summarily dismissing her appeal, which means that effectively she is dismissed from the congregation. Now, this particular order of this Supreme Tribunal in the Vatican is dated 27th of May 2020. Now, we have verified and found out that, as the whole world knows, Italy was in the midst of a terrible COVID attack last year. All the Vatican offices were closed at that time. How could an order have been passed? Who has passed this order? I mean, this is just atrocious. Now, if we have to go into it, we'll have to find out. Obviously, it's a fabricated order. So
Yes.
what I have done is, I have written to the tribunal. I said, let us take corrective action, or you take corrective action. Set the record straight. Now, you are supposed to have confirmed a void order passed by a void ex parte order passed by the nuncio in India. Now, please do this. Set aside this order, review the case. Please ask the nuncio to fix a fresh hearing and let us proceed according to law.
Yes.
And I've even volunteered. I'm an old man. I don't travel too much. I don't take up cases. But I felt this is a very serious issue. The reason for it being that I'm now informed that there are 60,000 nuns in the state of Kerala alone who are going through absolute hell from day to day. And it's only because of this intolerant and dogmatic attitude. Many of them, again, now this information comes from very seasoned scholars, because this is not my research, scholars in Kerala, academic people, legal people. They told me that out of this large body of 60,000 nuns, as many as almost 500 are supposed to have committed suicide because their bodies were recovered from the wells
Justice
in the
Saldana.
last few months alone. Now, this is something horrifying.
Yes. Justice Saldana, in
It's
fact,
something horrifying. We'll have to, all this, we'll have to go into. Yeah. Yes, sorry.
yes.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, Justice Saldana, because we were talking about the legality of the case and you've gone through this case in a very detailed manner. You've studied the case very thoroughly, and in your letter in your notice to the Vatican, you've also said that you are prepared to represent her. You've said it earlier as well. You are ready to assist Sister Lucy at the hearing, as you happen to be a qualified and experienced lawyer, and you won't be you are not someone who would be intimidated by any higher powers. So, Justice Saldana, with this in context, what do you think should be the next legal move for Sister Lucy?
Well, to be fair to the tribunal, I'm told that the moment the intimation reached them, for the first time, they have asked Sister Lucy's local lawyer to come and see them next week. And I do hope that you see, this is a very serious matter, and neither the government of India, nor the citizens of this country, nor the citizens of the world will keep quiet if these type of atrocities continue. And therefore, the time has come now to do damage control for the church. The time has come now for them to rectify things. And the most important aspect is to do justice to Sister Lucy. She's a senior teacher. She's a nun. She's a respected person. If you kindly read the judgment of the High Court on the status of nuns in the state of Kerala, the High Court has come out complimenting them for the excellent work that they are doing, not only as teachers but as they are social saviors and whatever, which is all very true. I endorse it.
Yes.
I endorse it completely. Now, in such a situation, can an atrocity like this continue?
Yeah.
And the second thing is, I'm sorry to have to say this, but I I stand up very strongly for the dignity of women, for the dignity of women and for women's rights.
Absolutely.
And despite my age, I will not. In fact, I used the expression yesterday when somebody spoke to me about this. I said, old as I am, my blood boils.
Yes.
And the same is the reaction of everyone else.
Absolutely.
And I'm deeply grateful to your channel for having taken up this matter and projected it, because it is very necessary that every man, woman and child in this country knows what is going on.
Yes. Yes, Justice
I
Saldanha,
respect
absolutely.
I respect the Pope Francis.
Yes. And Justice Saldanha,
I
because
respect
this is
the
a
Pope
matter.
very much as a human being, but
Yes, yes, please complete your point, sir.
yes. So you see the point I was making is this, that Justice Krishna Iyer, who is my legal guru, he used to use very very flowery language. Sometimes we needed a dictionary to find out what he was saying. I remember at one of his lectures he said, humanity is half of humanity. And if you ask me, I just added to it by saying that having regard to countries like ours, where right from professionals to the houses to the fields, where women are doing far, far more than the males are, I use the expression humanity is the better half of humanity.
Yes.
Now that is you see, those are the stakes involved in this case. It is not just a question. The other day on your TV channel, the representative of the church comes and says that when we have dismissed her, let her pack her bags and go home. Why should she? Why should she go home? She has dedicated her life to the congregation, to society,
Yes.
and should she live under a stigma?
Absolutely.
If you read my notice, I pointed out that poor Jesus Christ, he was hauled up by these type of people, by these detractors. He was put on trial, and he was sentenced to death. For what? Today, even in 2000 years, nobody has been able to point a finger at him for doing anything. And for how long are we going to tolerate this?
Justice
and
Saldanha?
do we want our nuns and teachers to be driven to suicide? And to be the expression used by one of your very learned panelists the other day was, he said they are victims of the sexual predators from the clergy. And because they are powerful, the High Court has gone into that. Because Malakal raised the point, he said, what was the victim doing? She's an adult woman. She's 40 years old. What was she doing for 2.5 years if I am supposed to have been raping her against her wishes? And the High Court has answered it. The High Court says that when you are in a position of power, and whom should she complain to? A poor
Justice
person goes to
Saldanha
the
and-
police nowadays, and you have a powerful opponent, they are just thrown out.